Now y'all know South Africa doesn't play, especially when it comes to these spooky stories. It is said that a ghost haunts this particular hill in South Africa. This girl's husband didn't believe it until the night a hitchhiker told him what really happened there. I am back with another spooky story. This story is called The Man with the Umbrella. We're gonna call the person who submitted this story Naledi. So one night, Naledi's husband was driving to his parents' house from his parents' farm around, I'm sorry if I butcher this, Masha Dodorp, Mpumalanga, South Africa. So this was about a 45-minute drive to his parents' home. The husband was used to taking this route, but there were always some rumors that this hill was haunted by an umbrella man, one who was hit by a car and left for dead. But again, Naledi's husband never believed in any of this. Anyway, so husband's driving to his parents' house when he approached a man on the road who was hitchhiking. He felt sorry for him because it was getting very late, so he offered him a ride. The man was going to the same township that her husband was going to, so perfect. Now, along the road, they were having a very nice conversation, talking about the big city, working, the economy, etc. Just having a good laugh, and honestly, they seemed to click. They started approaching a very curvy downhill. Now, this hill is known for its haunting reputation. The hitchhiker in the car suddenly just went silent. Naledi's husband tried to say something to him, but he just stayed mute. He wasn't responding like he was before. So seeing this odd behavior, Naledi's husband decided to just focus on the curves on the road. They went down this hill in complete silence in the car. When they finished going down this curvy road, the hitchhiker left out this big sigh of relief. He said, "Ish, man, I'm sorry I acted weird back there. It's just that this hill brings back horrific memories for me." So the husband driving the car with relief asked what happened. The hitchhiker then began to explain that he was driving a company truck. He loved his job and he was really good at going extra miles without feeling sleepy. He would always push goods to be delivered more quickly. He loved driving at night because there would be a lot less traffic. However, this one night he was driving down this very hill. As he was in the middle of the hill, he saw someone crossing the road holding an umbrella. He knew it wasn't raining, it was nighttime, so he told himself that he's not gonna stop for anything, especially on a hill because that could stain the truck. However, when he passed this person, he suddenly started to feel like something or somebody was sitting right next to him in the passenger seat. His heart is beating out of his chest, and he slowly moved his eyes to confirm the feeling that somebody was next to him. And this man turns to see a man who almost looks like a black shadow sitting directly next to him. He looked back at the road in shock, and he just couldn't believe his eyes. So he turned his whole head, this time to have a full-on look. And at this time, this very dark, shadowy figure's eyes were burning like fire, sort of like a burning coal. He looked at the road again and just tried to keep the truck on the curvy road. And unfortunately, it was a little too late. As he looks up, the truck is now flying off of the side of the road. Well, the truck skidded off the edge of the winding mountain road, tumbling down the cliffside, and crashed. He woke up in the hospital. He doesn't remember what else happened or how long it took for people to find him. However, he was hospitalized for 12 months. A whole year. He said that the image of that figure stayed with him forever. Whenever he goes down that road, fear automatically just overwhelms him. Unfortunately, he was fired from that company because it does look as though he just fell asleep on the road and he wasn't obligated to push for deliveries at the time. This happened on his resting time. He wasn't even supposed to be driving at that time. But unfortunately, the managers never believed his ghost stories. Now listen, I told y'all South Africa doesn't come to play. South Africa has some spooky stories. Lucian people, to the front. When I say Obia is real, this girl said her auntie's boyfriend took her mom's panties off the laundry line and brought them to the Obia man, and this is how it all started. I am back with another spooky story. This one is a betrayal story from St. Lucia. Sometimes it really do be your own family. We're gonna call the person who submitted the story Hannah. So Hannah said my mom and aunt were super close. So close that her mom built a house in St. Lucia with her. While her mom was still living and working in the US, she was sending money back home to her sister and her sister's boyfriend to help with construction. This is all very important. Now this man, the aunt's boyfriend, he was no saint. Had already gotten deported from Canada after stealing from her dad's carpentry business and pawning the tool to send money back to St. Lucia. But Hannah's aunt loved that man so much that she left her teenage daughter and young son behind to go be with her man. Now Hannah says she told her mom not to build with her sister. She told her that her sister was going to take the whole house and the land for herself. But her mom looked at her in the eye and said, "My sister would never do that to me." Fast forward to 2016. Her mom finally moves to St. Lucia to live in the house that she had been funding for years. But what she walks into? It's not funny, I don't mean to laugh. An empty shell. It's basically like 4 walls, no lights, no paint, no cupboards, no furniture. A house that her mom has been funding for years, mind you. Meanwhile, the sister's side of the house, fully furnished. Fixtures, rods, kitchen, lights, everything. Obviously, Hannah's mom is devastated. And this is when the arguments started. Hannah's aunt, her boyfriend, and her mom were fighting every day. She was in Canada getting called in at work in the middle of the night. It was non-stop. So she can mediate what's going on back home. Then that's when the threats came. The aunt's boyfriend started saying that he would unalive Hannah's mother. And then the rumors that he started taking Hannah's mom's panties from the laundry line and bringing them down to the Obia man, do what he gotta do to get rid of Hannah's mother. So eventually Hannah's mom moved out and gets a new place. But you think that was it? The story is not over, because that's when shit really started happening. People are wicked enough. Anyway, it's Tuesday. I gotta get to work. You gotta come back for part 2. So if you want to hear part 2 and how this dramatic betrayal story ended, leave a comment for part 2. And I will be dropping part 2 as soon as this video hits 10,000 views. St. Lucia said, oh, you thought we were all only nice? Hold my purse. Now, I know this doesn't reflect on everybody over there, so please save those comments. These are submitted stories. Enjoy them and shut the f***. Like I say at the end of every single video, I love you, my abducted humans, from your favorite Asian homegirl. Okay guys, chill on me. I'm back with part 2. And when they say it be your own family, it really do be your own man. Imagine you trusting your sister, sending money back home to build y'all a house so that by the time you get back home, you have some place to live, and so does your sister. However, when you get back home after years of sending money back home to build a house, you find it that your sister only built herself a house. Not only that, but the man that your sister is with is making threats towards you, taking your personal items to an Obia person, and attempts to end your life over land. So we left off the story with Hannah's mother moving out, and the story still continues. So then Hannah decided to move into her mother's old place. And she said this is when things really started happening. So Hannah said when she moved into her mother's old place, stuff just started going missing. Stuff like documents, clothes, her bank card, even shoes and plants. But one night made it clear that there was something else in that house. So she was in her living room working. Her eldest daughter, who had already gone to bed, got up and came to her and said, "Mommy, I feel weird, like my body feels old." So Hannah told her, like, go back to sleep, say a prayer. But something didn't sit right. A few minutes later, Hannah saw a shadow enter through the side door and lean over toward her. It was like it was trying to check to see if Hannah could see it, and Hannah could, so she waved it off like she normally does. She said she's seen these things her whole life, she just doesn't talk about it. But the shadow walked right into her daughter's room. Her heart dropped. So she got up, followed the shadow. When she turned the corner, she saw it. A 6-foot-tall shadow figure standing by her daughter's bunk bed, staring down at her oldest child. Goosebumps covered her body. She turned, ran into the living room, grabbed her Bible, and opened it to Psalms. Started praying out loud and begging God to protect her and her family. While the shadow turned from the bed and looked directly at Hannah. And she kept praying harder and harder until that shadow turned again, walked to the window, and vanished. And at 5 a.m., Hannah heard something outside under that same window, as if something was laying down on them old wooden planks. Hannah looks outside and notices a trail of overgrown weeds leading into the bush. So 2 weeks later, she went out there with her brother to clear the area. And y'all, this is the spooky part. They found her black fur slippers buried under the window, tied with a red cloth. Ugh. So whoever did that, her aunt and her boyfriend, not only were doing work on Hannah's mother, but Hannah herself upon moving into the old property. So Hannah said when she found the shoe with the red cloth, she burnt it on the spot. So 8 years later, after her mom moved back into that house, after all the stress, betrayal, and spiritual attack, her mother unfortunately passed away, which I am so sorry for your loss. Well, guys, that pretty much concluded that story. This really does teach you something, that it really do be your own man's. It's the greed of human nature. Unfortunately, this isn't the first time I'm hearing a story similar to this. Whether it be from fellow Caribbean people or African people, this is one of the oldest stories in the book. I don't know how much money my father done sent to a family back home to build a house. And baby, where's the house? For those of y'all who were patient about part 2, which was about none of y'all, it's here, so thank you for watching. If you have a spooky story that you want me to tell, please feel free to submit it to me, either right here on TikTok or over to my Instagram page. And if you're not already, be sure to follow me on Instagram just so that I know that it's real. Duh. It's Rebecca_Journey. I am so close to 10,000 followers. So do your thing, TikTok, and get me just a little bit closer to 10K. And if you haven't already, make sure you vote for me for the Caribbean Music Awards. The link is in my bio. Like I see at the end of every single video. I love you, my abducted humans, from your favorite Haitian homegirl. I can't make this shit up. This has to be an original experience. Because why did Hannah's cousin just reach out to me? I swear to God. Somebody submitted a story on my page. I named her Hannah. And if you want to see that story time, click on this comment. And I guess somebody heard the story and said, this story sounds very familiar. Like my cousin, my family familiar. And they reached out to me to tell me what really happened. Now, trigger warning, people. Hey, love, how are you? I'm writing you in regard to that Hannah story from St. Lucia. I believe Hannah would be my cousin, and all lies are being said. Half of what she said is a complete lie. Well, half. Let me keep my opinion out of it. This is some family tea. This is crazy. This never happened to me before. First of all, Hannah never cared about her mom, who passed away January of this year. The cousin claims that her mom called her 2 weeks prior her passing. Hannah cussed and hung up the phone on her mom, allegedly. Hannah has been known for putting her hands on her mom when her mom was in Canada, in the US, and even back home in St. Lucia. The cousin goes on to say that Hannah ran away from home at 11 years old, got her stepdad arrested for the R word twice, and it was all a lie, allegedly. Came back home, got her little sister to lie on her stepdad again. At 14, got pregnant with her older daughter. You're just spilling all the tea. With her older daughter, whom she abused constantly. She put her 10-year-old daughter on okay. I don't know if I should say this. I don't know what the guidelines are. What I'll say is adults usually take birth control. She has random men coming in and out of her house having, oh my God, in front of the kids. Like, they just, like the kids are hanging out while she, This girl is not a good mother and was never a good daughter to her mother. She never called or came to her mom's funeral, nor did her sister, because they both wasn't speaking to their mom for years before she passed. This story is fabricated and all lies. She then goes on to explain that when her aunt, that would be Hannah's mother, when the aunt came down from the US, she came into the house was painted, but the aunt had to furnish the house because the aunt never sent money to furnish the house. She had only sent money to paint and build the house, at least according to her. She goes on to say that both her aunts were always together, going out everywhere together. So if she came into the house with nothing, that would have never been the case. She says after her aunt started dating a man, again, her aunt is Hannah's mother, things started to change between the two of them, and then life happened. So the two sisters actually stopped speaking to each other. So she says Hannah's mother moved out and got a house in town. Her daughter came down from Canada and moved in the house next to her aunt. She says that Hannah started to look for trouble with her aunt constantly, to the point where she physically assaulted her aunt. And it was so bad that she drew out every time in more than one occasion. She said that she only stayed on her mother's side of the house and did not take care of the entire house at all. She claimed that the walls in the house had mold, that the toilet broke, the light and water wasn't paid for, which was eventually cut off. So then that's when she moved in with her mother in town, and things got bad when she fought her mom in the streets and her mom's boyfriend kicked her out. So this is only a very little piece of Hannah's real story. Again, the stories she gave you are all lies. Oh, I'll be damned. Hannah, to the front of the congregation. Please, what's this about? Defend yourself? Listen, I don't know. I was just submitted these stories. I don't know what to make from this, so I'm just gonna say my outro. Do not forget to vote for me for the Caribbean Music Awards. The link can be found in my bio. It's in my link tree. First thing that you're gonna see. You can't miss it. Scroll all the way to the bottom and submit me a free vote. While you're there, make sure you're following me on Instagram just so that I know that it's real. Duh. Like I say at the end of every single video, I love you, my abducted humans, from your favorite Haitian homegirl. So Hannah actually replied. Hannah said, I saw the updated video on what my so-called cousin wrote to you, and let me just say, the things that she is saying is all a lie, and I'm glad this is all coming out into the light. The cousin claimed Hannah's a lie. Hannah claims the cousin's a lie. Let's find out together. Oh, my St. Lucian people, tune the fuck in. This is not tea. This is liquor. Hannah says, I have so many stories about this family. This person is making up lies about me. First of all, Hannah said that she had her oldest daughter at the age of 17, not 14, like the cousin said. Hannah lived with her baby father for 12 years, and they're still together after 20 years off and on. She say that to say that there was absolutely no man coming in and out of her house. She has respect for herself. She says she never put her oldest daughter on no birth, nothing. Not once. Hannah said she didn't even have the chance to have the Smex talk with her daughter before her mother stepped in and had it with her. Hannah says that, trigger warning, she was indeed SA'd by her stepfather at the age of 12. I'm not in the business of not believing victims, so I believe you, Hannah. She said for months he would come into her room and, She said she would wake up to him, rubbing and touching. And he had this big flashlight that he used to creep around the house with at night. Hannah says she shared a room with her youngest sister, and she told her mother about this, but her mother didn't believe her. So that day, Hannah went to school crying, and her favorite teacher asked her what happened. And she told the teacher what happened, and as a result, the sister got sent to a foster home for about a month while the court case was ongoing. Hannah got to see her mother through supervised visits. One visit, Hannah's mother told her that if she lied and told the judge that, the stepdad actually didn't do it, that she would be allowed to come back home to live with them again. Because Hannah was in such a horrible situation in the foster home that she was in, and her mom was promising her a better home life when she comes back, she decided to do as her mother asked and lied to the judge. Basically recanted and said that her stepdad didn't do it. And when they asked her why she lied, she just shrugged her shoulders and just kept it moving because she knows that he actually did it. She said after court, mother took them to McDonald's, but then the second they got home, the beatings and everything got much worse. Now the mom started making rumors about Hannah, saying that she was being fat and that she was the one who wanted to do things with the stepdad. Other women in the family, including that cousin, believed Hannah's mother. Hannah says she went through countless abuse and ridicule from her family, including when Hannah got a degree in PSW, which is equivalent to a CNA in the US. They all said her degree was nothing and made fun of her degree. Hannah says that everybody had a distaste for her from that stepfather situation. Mind you, the stepdad was in carpentry business, so he made 30 grand a month. That man was paying off their lifestyle one way or another. To everybody else, it was like, how dare you put a good man down? And Hannah says that she actually regrets the day that she ever said anything because they have made her life a living hell. And that breaks my heart. Hannah goes on to say that this cousin that submitted the story was never even around. And she said that the cousin was up there in Canada using her identity and children to get benefits from the government and using fake IDs because they overstayed their welcome. Then she said this cousin is in hiding? Oh my God. She came out of hiding to tell your tea? She says that none of my cousins can talk because I have stories about all of them stealing, using fake IDs, getting married for papers, committing fraud, and running the Garde to help them get ahead in life. Is that like voodoo? So basically they're scammers? Is that what you're saying, Hannah? Allegedly? Hannah says that she has never used any of these taxes because she herself believes in God. She said that same auntie knows exactly why she couldn't go back to live with her mom and stepfather after she had her eldest daughter. So that aunt and her moved out together, and she was living in a rundown basement apartment with her son and daughter. And after living with her and seeing how she lived, Hannah decided to move out and get her own space after like a year. Hannah goes on to say, in the Caribbean, your mom is your mom, like everyone always told her. No one ever corrected her and she could do no wrong. But despite all of that, she loved her mother. And she still does. She said she paid $5,000 for first and last month's rent and cried because she had no money to go to her mother's funeral. So this story is getting on way too long, so I'm gonna have to do a whole separate part. because she also said that she was gonna send me proof via email. And if you guys are still interested, I guess I'll make this into a part 3. This is a very sensitive topic, so I want to take this moment to say I'm so sorry, Hannah, for what you've gone through. I also want to say this to anybody else that this might have triggered. It's difficult for women to come out with these things that happen, not only because of the sense of shame that they carry, but society not believing them, and in worst case scenario like this, and making your life a living hell for years. So I hope that, Hannah, one day you will find some justice for this. We'll end this right here, and if you guys want to hear more, let me know in the comments. Like I say at the end of every single video, I love you, my abducted humans. I'm your absolute favorite Haitian homegirl. St. Lucian peoples, come back. The family drama has just begun. Like, it's not tea because this is somebody's real life, but like, y'all just spilling all the tea, and I'm no better. Let me get to reading. Hannah did try to call me. However, I did decline the phone call because I want everything written. But Hannah goes on to say that she was in a shelter for almost 2 years and her mom or other relatives never helped her. They don't care about her and that they're just trying to evade her truth. Hannah says that her daughter went crazy living with her mother and she spent months in the hospital where none of them came to visit. And she says she's been praying for this story to come out, but she just didn't think that it would be like this. And she's been feeling like these relatives have been doing work on her to keep quiet, but God is good. And she said that same auntie, her husband fought her on top of the roof in Lucia and they went to court. She has a story time about that too, because she has videos of that fight. One thing about Hannah, she come with receipts. She says she's been quiet for so long that they believe they're right. But we're at the age of truth, right? So let the truth reign free. Clock it. Hannah goes on to say that she must have shook them because why are they making up stories to tell me about her instead of addressing the house issue? She asks, did they say anything about the house, the land, and the accusations of taking the panties off the line? If you're asking me, no, she didn't address that. Tell them to stick to the script or we can go certainly off script. Hannah. But they want to come spread more rumors. Hannah said that she never fought in the streets with her mother and her mother's boyfriend never kicked her out. She said she never moved in with her mother and she said her last day in Lucia she spent in bed in the same house that they were talking about. And yes, she had her power cut off. During COVID, she wasn't working or making much money and it got cut off for a few days, but she got paid and it got turned right back on. She says that her walls did have mold because her aunt's boyfriend was making holes in the ceiling. And she says she lives at the edge of the rainforest and it rains every morning in the rainy season. And I was just in Lucia, she's right. She said that the water would come in through the holes that he made and that would create the mold. She said after months of her bleaching it, opening all doors for ventilation, she had a little bit of handle on the mold. But it still wasn't good as she contacted the police for these reasons. And each time the police would tell her that it's not their problem. She also said that the ceiling was slanting and the foundation was falling apart due to how they built the house. Hannah said that she went down to Lucia because her mother asked her to come. That her mother had been begging her to come since December of 2016. She finally made up her mind March of 2017, and by April of 2017, she was in Lucia. And she never moved down there. Her mom and her just simply had a plan to finish building that house. She said her auntie's boyfriend broke it down, and she has pictures of that sent by her mother. She says that she has videos of the fight on the rooftop while he was making holes on the concrete. So like he was purposely trying to get you out of there. She says she has video evidence of water leaking from the holes and even him slamming blocks on her rooftop trying to disturb her peace and drive her mad. She says she has hours of evidence if you guys would like. And she says that the thing is, she knows that this is some petty drama to me, well, to us, but you know, this has been her life for the past 24 years and she is 36 now. Let me just address this. This is tea, for lack of a better term. I want you to understand that I have every bit of sympathy for you. A lot of my reactions come from the fact that I'm genuinely shocked by this story. And I'm also shocked that your cousin reached out to me. So it's just like, oh my God, my heart genuinely goes out to you. And so do a lot of people in the comments. All right, let's continue. She says also her mother moved out from a house that was hers and got a mortgage to go live in town because of all the psychological things that her auntie boyfriend did to her. And she asks, what lady do you know would leave a house and land to go owe a bank mortgage at the age of 58? She moved out of there because she wanted peace. She gave her daughter the house because she didn't want them to have it. And Hannah addresses the allegations that she wasn't taking care of the house because she says she had a weed eater taking care of everybody on the property. Hannah says that they are evil, and I'm guessing the auntie's boyfriend, the other auntie's boyfriend, he even warned her other aunt to stay off the land or something bad will happen to her. And also her mother never called her 2 weeks prior to her death. It wasn't her. She said it's true that they weren't on speaking terms at the time because she was setting boundaries between herself and her relatives. She never hung up the phone on her mother, nor has she ever put her hands on her mother. She says she loves her mother, and even though she did things, she can still remember the good that she did. She said that she chose to forgive her and her stepfather on her 18th birthday for herself. Wow, that was big. Otherwise, she would not be here to tell this story. And I tell you this now with tears in my eyes. Aww. I feel terrible reading this. But I did send her a message saying, hey love, I'm not sure if you saw the video, but I did want to personally reach out to you to say I'm so sorry for what you went through. I believe you and so do many others. You're not alone in this situation and I'm sending nothing but strength and positivity your way. People are interested in your story. Let me know if you want me to keep going or feel free to send something else if you want me to include. And I did send her my email in case she wants to send any proof. I haven't received anything from her yet. On a separate note though, I did go ahead and reach out to the cousin. I said, hey love, so people are interested in the back and forth. Not sure if you are ready for that. However, this is also still part of your story to tell. If you would still like to say anything else. People would like to hear more from your perspective from what I'm gathering. Blessing. And the cousin actually did get back to me. So I'm gonna tell y'all what the cousin said tomorrow. But for now, this video is way too long. Leave your opinion down in the comments. Are you team cousin or team Hannah? Anyways, guys, as you guys may or may not know, I am currently in the running to be an award presenter at the Caribbean Music Award. And I know y'all fuck with me just as I fuck with y'all. I am currently second place in my competition and I need you guys to get me to first place. And as you guys can see, I'm in the running to win a grand prize valued at 5,000 USD. So please, I know I met a lot of y'all out there. I have a lot of supporters. The link is in my bio. Every single vote counts. So please go vote for me. I'm your favorite Haitian homegirl. All right, St. Lucian people, come back to the front. This is the last of Hannah's story. And yes, the cousin did reply. Let's finish off what Hannah had to say regarding the situation. That first and foremost, thank you for reading my story. You're welcome. Hannah said when she reached out and told her spooky story, she didn't expect family members to jump in and try to call her a liar. This family member came out of nowhere to trash her. Hannah said, and she didn't mention names or mark specific location. Yet someone recognized her story. Even though they claimed it to be lies, they recognized her story enough to try to divert the audience from the original plot. She says that she has a lot of stories pertaining to voodoo and obia being done in this family that is ran mostly by women. Her grandparents had 12 to 14 children, and most of them were women. She said these women dabble in black magic, from collecting your hair, blood from period pads, and inviting a voodoo/obia man from Haiti to come to Canada and have sex, oh my god, and do the do with her girl cousin and her family, including herself. It's a lot going on in this family. She said from auntie being found with skulls and bones inside of her closet to glass breaking in her hands while she held it up mid-air giving a toast, this family has wild ups and downs and they fight dirty. They fight by stitching cow tongues with your name on it together. They fight by tying up your shoes with red strings and freezing your name in the freezer. They be putting people on ice. She goes on to say that they study evil from their books and weave webs of deceit. She said that she's even had cousins tell her that they can make Hannah do whatever they want by just chanting. She says she was born in a family of wicked women who portray her to be the black sheep, all because she told her truth. Hannah said that she got chastised and mocked. She is not perfect and she never claimed to be. I never said I was perfect. I never said I didn't have any flaws. I'm sorry. Hannah says that she has failed and made so many mistakes in her life. However, she prays, asks God for guidance and steps in his protection over herself and her loved ones. She's even prayed that even her relatives would see the wrong in their ways. However, she's given up on that prayer. And she has a message for the collective. She said 2 children, teens, adolescents, and even adults who feel like they have not had a chance to breathe or feel useless, like life is not worth living. She says, and I quote, I want to say that we must endure, because this too shall pass and there is nothing new under the sun. God sees your struggle and he knows your strength. They want you gone because life would be made easier for them. Do not ever allow that to happen. It says, find your happiness in your peace and through it all, pray to the Most High. Now let's get into what the cousin had to say. The cousin said, and I quote, I listened to Hannah's response, and I don't know which cousin she's referring to in regards to stealing and fraud, because I work hard for everything that I own, and I never got married for papers. Again, with more lies. This girl is around 32, 33, and her oldest daughter is around 18, 19, so you do the math. This is getting nowhere going back and forth with a pathological liar. So, Hannah win. Well, since you gave Hannah the victory. After reading everything, I'm gonna stick beside my girl Hannah. And I don't think Hannah was lying. And cousin, if you're watching this, being a girl's girl means listening to victims, even if they were victimized by someone that you love. You can love the predator, but still have empathy for the victim. This whole culture of not believing women only harms us. And it's about damn time that we talk about the pedophilia in the Caribbean. A lot of the times, mothers do not believe their children, and it's traumatizing, okay? It's one thing for you to not believe your cousin, but to actively stand in the way of her justice as a woman, that is beyond disappointing for me to see. In this world, men have men's backs. Men love men real bad. And us women, who's gonna have our backs? And I know I'm not fixing your family issue with what I'm saying. I really hope that for the sake of your future children, you work on believing women. So while my hair stretches, we're actually gonna do a little bit of research together. Research is like so free. Before I even get into the research, one thing that's important for me to say, I know y'all cognitive dissonance is in a fucking awry right now. Because everything that you've been taught since you were a child, I'm telling you the opposite. So your brain, by nature, is doing this whole thing. You don't have to agree with me for what I'm saying to be a fact. You don't have to agree for what I'm saying to be a fact. It's so interesting to me how Christians genuinely believe that God only belongs to them. You don't have to be Christian in order to believe in God. You don't have to be Christian in order to believe in God. And not every religion has the same rules. What you may think as a Christian may be completely different from what a Buddhist thinks. You're gonna tell a Buddhist that their religion or their practice is wrong because it doesn't align with what you know? I don't know, guys. Now, okay, let's get into the research. Handy dandy laptop. I looked up on ChatGPT. Are people who do voodoo devil worship? Let's see what ChatGPT has to say. No! People who practice voodoo, Haitian voodoo in particular, are not devil worshippers. That belief mostly comes from misinterpretation during colonial times and reinforced by Hollywood horror tropes. That belief comes from misinformation spread during colonial times and reinforced by Hollywood horror tropes. The white man has done a number on your brain and it's working. So all of y'all gathering in my comment section thinking like y'all making a point, thinking y'all standing behind God coming for me, baby, you've been brainwashed. Y'all are so wrong. I can't even say anything. In voodoo religion, they do not believe in the devil. No devil in the belief system. In voodoo, there isn't a Satan figure the way there is in Christianity. Guys, you can do your own research. It's 2025. We have no excuse to walk around being ignorant towards other people's religion. Then I looked up, do people who practice voodoo believe in God? Yes! People who practice Haitian voodoo absolutely believe in God. In fact, God, aka Bon Dieu, is at the very top of the voodoo spiritual hierarchy. So Bon Dieu is seen as all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-good, but also distant. People don't pray to Bon Dieu directly because he is viewed as great and busy, and too great and too busy to be involved in daily affairs. So at the core, voodoo is monotheistic, one God, with a spiritual network of helpers. Not godless or devil worship like the stereotypes suggest. If y'all want to have a fucking witch hunt, just say that. You were conditioned to have stereotypes against African spirituality, which is exactly what your ancestors were practicing before Christianity came about. Sometimes it's okay to just pick up some books and learn. I'm not trying to recruit anybody here into voodoo. Shit, I'm not even a voodoo priest. I think I did that video to educate, but I'm realizing that y'all don't want to know. Y'all just want to judge and rah-rah and fight when the truth is right there. No, I'm not recruiting you to be a part of voodoo. I'm simply telling you that people who practice voodoo also believe in God. Goodbye. So as some of y'all may or may not know, I started YouTube about a year ago. Me and YouTube, we've had a tumultuous relationship, some ups and some downs. I've had some really low lows with YouTube and I'm still trying to get out of that rut right now. However, YouTube has always been a very promising platform for me. It's really hard as a content creator to balance two different platforms. If the job was just to do TikTok videos, my life would be so easy. However, YouTube is actually where the money resides. YouTube has paid my bills a lot more than TikTok. It's crazy because I have 4 times the followers on TikTok than I do on YouTube. But YouTube is actually paying my bill. But I'm making this video because after a little over a year, I am so excited to announce that I have officially reached 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. Yeah! Make some noise, y'all. What the fuck? I am so close to getting my first YouTube plat. Well, halfway to getting my first YouTube plat. But this is such a huge accomplishment for me. I want to thank everybody who subscribed to my YouTube channel because I know a large chunk of you guys actually do follow me over there. And I also do want to say to keep going. I don't know who needs to hear this, but let me tell you something. They were laughing at me, but they laughed at me all the way up to the top. Before I had 200,000 followers on this app and 50,000 on the other app, people used to just watch me and scroll past my video. Yes, people I know. Every time they watched me and they saw that my video weren't doing numbers, never commented, shared, nothing. Actually, as a matter of fact, some of them shared my content to their friends, talk about how much of a loser I am. Or look at her, ha ha ha, trying to be a content creator. You know, I've gone through a lot of ridicule. As someone who's been very confident about the things that she wants in life. And on certain days, people laughing at me really feels worth it. Even if you shared my content to laugh at me, if you shared my content to make fun of me, because I do post everything on this app, I genuinely want to say thank you, because that is support as far as I'm concerned. I want to tell all those small content creators whose videos are getting even 30 views, 1,000 views or less, keep going. And your friends aren't gonna support you, but that's okay. It is okay, because you don't need your friends to succeed. The people that you are trying to entertain aren't your friends anyway. So it doesn't matter if the content is getting 30 views today. Well, if your content is only getting 30 views, the content is probably ass, so you probably do need to like revisit that. But the point is to keep going, because if you believe in yourself and you don't stop, one day the world will meet you exactly where you are. You will be staring back at 50,000 subscribers one day and you won't believe it. I am so grateful to everybody who supported me on this journey, those that I know and those that I do not know, those who subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel for longer, better, and spookier stories, what are you doing? Obviously, we have 50,000 people over there, so it's a fun space to be in. You guys have gotten me stupid far, and you guys can get me. So I was scrolling earlier and then I came across this. Carnival influencer accused of soliciting businesses for services but not keeping her end of the agreement. You can pause to read, but this is the part where she, the influencer, reached out to the brand and this is what she was offering. So pretty much it's exchanging products for marketing. This is very common for a lot of influencers to do. The brand pretty much said that she reached out to them. Basically, she reached out to them offering marketing, shout out on her social media platform, in exchange for jewelry. Now, the brand says that they've given her this jewelry since the beginning of July, if I'm not mistaken. And we're now in August, and no videos, no tags, no mentions have been made. However, she has been spotted wearing the jewelry. So the brand is just wondering, like, when are you going to deliver your end? Considering we're in August, St. Lucia Carnival is done. Where's the content? Where's the shout out? Then yet another brand came forward, a cake brand. They reached out to the cake people. The cake people made a cake for them for their brand anniversary. It's been 3 weeks now. There's no content. So, you know, these people are obviously frustrated, understandably so. And they took to social media to basically expose her. Now, here's the thing. People in New York City have been trying to warn y'all about these people for 2 years now. I did an entire story time on my page. Now, while I didn't name them, it was abundantly clear who I was talking about in the story times. I said in my story time that these people are scammers. No one listened to me. After I did my story time, which, okay, fine, niggas left me stranded. It was my fault. I also didn't say any names in my story time. Okay, cool. Maybe it wasn't that clear. Then other people kept coming forward in New York City talking about their experiences being scammed by these people. Every time we see these people in the media, it's never because of anything positive. It's always a controversy. However, people continue to work with them. I highly recommend that people start vetting people before they hire them to work with their brands, like the American brands do. I was seeing a lot of comments saying basically stop hiring influencers, blah, blah, blah. It's only gonna hurt your brand. Don't let one bad apple ruin everything. If you look at big brands in America, for example, let's use Fenty Beauty, for example. They still work with influencers of all different levels because it is effective to work with influencers. Not just one, but multiple. These brands work with these influencers for visibility. So if you want to get your brand out there, it is absolutely brilliant. It does make sense to work with influencers. Influencers who will hold their end of the bargain. I'm seeing people don't hire influencers. And listen, I was an influencer for my first carnival season in Lucia like 2 weeks ago. Please don't take that away from me. Scroll down on my page. I swear to God, I did my thing. It was zuma. I did my thing. You have to hire people who are doing this out of the pure joy and love for the culture and carnival. And also, might I add, I say that to say, don't be scared of influencers. Hire me, your favorite Haitian homegirl.